Hey traders, Akil Stokes here and welcome back to another video. If this is your first time joining me, thank you. I am a Forex trading coach. I am also the co-founder of Tier1Trading.com. And typically this is a weekend edition of a daily video that I do called The Trading Edge, where I come in and I share with you guys some of the opportunities that are on my radar for the week ahead. However, this week we're going to do something a little bit different. So this video is going to be geared more for the newer trader. Now, if you're experienced, by all means, feel free to watch. I'm sure you can get something from it. But if you are a newer trader, this is very, very, very important because we're going to cover one of the major mistakes that newer traders make. And I'm doing something a little bit different in this video, mainly because it was a slow week. For me at least. Actually, my trading partner, Jason Greystone, had a fantastic week. Lots of trades, almost 400 pips. Me, one trade, one win. Quality week, but certainly slow. And in fact, that brings up another topic of, I shared a question on social media this week about, do you have PIP goals, meaning daily goals, weekly goals? And I was gonna dig into that in this video as well, but I think I'm gonna save that for a podcast episode. That way we don't have kind of two different subjects. Because today, what I want to talk about is the importance of reading price action and how it can benefit your trading in the long run. One of the mistakes that many newer traders make, including yours truly, is that we focus so much on what to trade, not how to trade. Meaning, what strategy should I trade? How can I learn that strategy? Because as soon as I learn that strategy, I can start making money in the market. Where the truth is, your strategy is pointless if you don't know how to trade. Learning how to trade, how to read price, how to interpret a price chart is what allows you to use that strategy to exploit consistent profits from the market. So you can't have one without the other. And typically what happens when traders try is they learn something, they struggle, and then they go to the next one because the strategy doesn't work. And I'll share with you a little bit about my story in this video clip as well. But what I'm going to show you is a clip from my live trading room. Because it was a slower week, we had a chance to address some really good topics, including this subject, which came from one of our newer traders. And what we're going to talk about is really reading a price chart at its basic form, not just the bigger picture, but the smaller picture, meaning candlestick by candlestick, and how by simply learning how to read a candlestick, it can give you a massive amount of information, which can then be used to find the smallest of edge in the market and then use your strategy to exploit that edge. Now, in this video, I believe we're gonna be looking at the lower time frames. I think the 5-minute chart and the 5 range bar chart. But understand these concepts can be used on any time frames, any market. I personally do this on a daily basis on the daily chart. The daily chart is the most important chart for me personally. I look at the end of day candle each and every day to kind of anticipate and determine what I'm going to predict next. And what I'll then do the next day is I'll take the most recent candle, create that story in my head, then dial down to say a 4-hour or an hourly and use that to see if I can exploit that edge in the market. So check out the video. I hope you enjoy. Again, it's more new trader based. So I apologize if you're a veteran trader watching this, but if you're like me, I always like really having a refresher on the basic stuff because it may stimulate a thought that helps me in my trading as well. And if it can do that for you, then the video was well worth it. Especially it cuts out the noise. It only presents the candles when price moves. Yeah, that's what I like it the best. I mean, and I value the story that wicks tell. Don't get me wrong. I think the candlestick wick is very important. It tells the extreme, but especially intraday, when you get moves like, again, like we just saw this move in the euro yen, right? We saw this candle, we saw this combination of candles right here, right? We saw this candle with this nasty wick, and then we saw this candle right here. Do you guys realize this is a trend continuation opportunity? This is an ideal trend continuation opportunity. Those two candles. But you probably can't see it, right? How many of you guys can actually see it? This would be an ideal trend continuation opportunity because look, what does this candle do, right? Well, if we just mark out open, high, low, close, right? So we take this red candle and the open was right here. Would you guys agree? We know that the low was down here, right? We know that because of the wick, right? So this candle originally traveled from here down to there, right? We also know that the close was a bit higher, right? So the close was probably somewhere in here. So what does that mean? What does that tell us? What happened in the market before this candle closed? It retraced, right? So we came up to here. All right, so your next candle, it opens here. We know that we have a wick to the upside, right? What does that tell us? It tells us that price action at some point traveled to here. All right, so we take this and it went, or it's a bad example, like that. Here we go, that's more realistic. It went like that, right? And then we know it closed higher, but it closed lower than its high. So it did something like this. And then the next candle, right, opened here, closed there, right? Went like that. So this is what these two candles or these three candles tell us. This type of move. However, you don't necessarily see that on the chart, do you? It doesn't really look like that, especially if you're not familiar with understanding candles. However, we go over to a range bar chart, right? Because this is the 5-minute chart. Dun, da, da, da. Clear as a whistle, right? So sometimes it can be helpful for the eyes. It clears up a lot of the noise and the wicks and all that stuff, and it gives you that clear ebb and flow, right? So if you're someone that's trading it, right, and looking at this on a minute-based chart, it's the 5-minute chart. There's no way you could have caught a pullback trade here, right? You're like, no, not, you can't, right? You look at this on a 5 range, right? Oh, there you go. Look at this on a 5 range. You can say, okay, price action came up here. We were traced back in the structure, looking for lower low, lower close. Lower low, lower close came right here. Stops above here. Targets at a 127 extension or a 1-to-1 measured move, which is down there. Now you've got an easy trade setup. Bada boom, bada bing. You got your risk up here. You got your reward down here. Tradable. Now, in this particular case, it was a news event, so it probably happened too fast for you to actually do it. Let's see. We spiked down at 746, 746, 746, 747, 748, 749, your lower low close. Maybe 753, 752, 753. So yeah, I mean, there would have been time. This happened quick, but it slowed down. I mean, the quickest one was this initial dive. This was a little bit slower. So this actually may have been an opportunity you could have caught. I wouldn't have taken it because of news, obviously, but just in a regular situation, I hope this gets the point across that, hey, this is something that we can use. This is something that we can't necessarily use. We can't really do anything with this. We can interpret it. We can know what happened, but we can't really trade it, in my opinion. It's not tradable. This story is tradable. So this is why I like range bar charts, because they just give you, there are pros and cons, but they give you sometimes they leave you small clues. And if you're in a situation where you're looking to take advantage of something, these small clues can help you out and maybe get you in a trade that you weren't able to otherwise. Gabrielle says, now I see the importance of the simple stuff you easily rush through. Yeah. Again, you give people this candlestick combination right here, right? You give people this candlestick combination right here. How many traders out there do you think can interpret it the correct way? How many traders do you think can, out of 100 traders in a room, how many do you think can tell you what actually happened in the market? Naomi says 10. Gabrielle says 15%. New kid, Charlie, says, not me, not yet. And here's the thing. It's not because it's overly complicated. Nick says 18.254. Ooh, that 4. Shall we round down? It's not, would you guys agree? It's not overly complicated, is it? I mean, after we drew it out, it makes perfect sense. The problem is this, like I just don't think many traders care. I just don't think traders care to learn about the foundational elements. I don't think most traders, successful ones do, obviously, serious ones do, but I don't think most traders care about reading price. They want the answer. They just care about what can make me money. They care about the signal. And what they fail to recognize, and I was the same way, guys. I was the same way. I traded for years just worrying about the signal, right? The first few trading strategies I started trading, and this is after I got educated, the only reason I picked them because they were very simple and I thought that I'd be able to get to trading live quick. I traded Fibonacci failure because it was very simple. All right, look for extension, pull back to the 382, sell it, boom. I traded AB equals CDs, or attempted to trade AB equals CDs because I thought it was simple. Okay, just copy and paste this little line and then sell it when it gets to the other arrow, right? Because my whole mindset was what is the simplest thing for me to learn so that I can start executing trades, because the quicker I can execute trades, the quicker I can make money, right? And it took me lots of losing and not really figuring out why I'm losing to understand that, hey, I don't actually know how to trade. My biggest thing was when I was trading that Fibonacci failure strategy, right? Which is a simple pullback strategy, right? It's a simple trend continuation strategy. It caught me because I don't know if I was talking to another trader. I wasn't on a forum. I don't know where it happened at. I must have been talking to another trader. I think that's what it was. I was talking to another trader. I had a blog back then called, I think it was I Am Business, where I would share my struggles as a trader, right? I would come in, I would journal each day and tell people how much I sucked, because that's typically what I was doing. So I was like, hey, here's how I was bad today. And people started falling in love with this blog because misery loves company. I guess I was one of the only people out there kind of like documenting my journey, but of being bad, right? Everyone else is like, I'm so good. I'm like, I'm so bad, right? So people kind of latched on and they felt comfortable with it. And I remember, I think I got a question on a blog post that was like, hey, what was the overall trend of the euro today? Something like that. And I couldn't answer it. And that's when it hit me. I'm like, I'm a trend trader, but I don't know, I don't know what the trend is. Like, is that embarrassing or what? Like, that was the eye opener for me. Like, I'm supposed to be this trend trader. I'm trading this trend following system. And this trader asked me, and it wasn't like a bland question. It was like, hey, euro dollar daily, something like that. What's the underlying trend? And I was like, I don't know. And it hit me then that I didn't really know how to trade. I didn't really know how to trade. I knew a trading strategy. I knew multiple trading strategies. I kept bouncing from one to the other. But I didn't actually know how to trade and interpret a market. And it was at that point, I'm like, man, I don't know how to read price. And ever since then, I started educating myself on actually kind of going back to the basics and just reading price, understanding price movement. What does the market tell me? And then obviously years later, as I got good and as I started teaching, I started formulating it in a way that you guys enjoyed, where I create a story with it. And that's something I did for years, but I was always scared to teach it because, I'm a little different. My mind's a little bit weird. I'm not sure if people always see the world the same way I do. And I don't really care, but from a teaching perspective, I don't want to spend time giving you guys this weird outlook and everyone just looks at me with the drooly face. But understanding price is key. And going back to the range bar example we looked at, right? If you can look at a 5-minute chart, and this is the cool thing about flexibility. If you can look at a 5-minute chart and you can see this move, and although it's not tradable, I cannot trade this on this chart, but you can read that story of boom, 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 then you have the ability to go down to a price chart where you can trade it, and you can tell yourself, okay, well, if the range bar chart tells me this story, that's an opportunity. And now you have your opportunity. Kristen says, my mind is beautiful. Thank you. Your way of teaching is spot on. Thank you. The foundation, the best part. So yeah, it's funny because you guys said 10% of people would probably interpret this way, and it's not a knowledge-based thing. It's not like hey, they're too stupid to. I'm showing you guys something that no one has ever seen before. No, it's simple stuff. Just no one pays attention to it. It's fundamentals, the fundamentals of the game. No different than an athlete. No different than my story about playing basketball, where I came into playing basketball and I tried to do spin moves behind the back. I was playing AAU, right? High level basketball. I tried to do all these fancy moves. And guess what I couldn't do? I couldn't dribble with my left hand. And I remember my coach was like, why are you doing all this? You have no left, right? Before you can do all these moves, just go outside and dribble the basketball with your left hand. Because until you can become comfortable with your left hand, you're never going to be able to do any type of move where you have to go from your right to your left. Because my opponents, they knew I didn't have any left. So I do all this fancy stuff, and they would just play me on the right-hand side because I knew I wasn't going back to the left. So it took kind of taking a step back and let's work on the basics, And that opened up a whole different world in basketball. And learning price action opened up a whole different world in trading, no matter what type of trader you are. Counter trend, trend continuation, patterns, moving average, right? It doesn't matter. This is the spine, the backbone, right, of whatever you're doing as a trader. It holds everything up. Very important. Very important. Good. Now you know. I've enlightened you a little bit. I've enlightened you. And it's not that hard. Again, we just need to pay attention to it. Just pay attention to it. Charlie says, I'm excited for the future. I am too. Charlie had a light bulb moment today. Look at that. See? Slow markets, but we got something valuable out of them. Perfect. Perfect. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And again, this doesn't just have to be used on the lower time frame. It can be used on the higher time frame as well. This just happened to be the example that we showed. So hopefully it brought you value. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment box below. While you're there, take a second, hit that share button, hit that like button. My goal is to grow this YouTube channel to 500,000. That'd be great. 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. One of our followers put that goal out for me. So just like the March push-up and sit-up goal that I've been doing, we're gonna go for that as well, just because it's fun. Why not? But it's a big favor if you guys subscribe if you're new, and then always share this with your friends on social media. All right. Lastly, if you're interested in joining us in the live room and kind of being in the mix while we're doing this type of analysis, while we're having this type of conversation, check out our risk-free trial. It's 14 days on the platform. You get access to a lot of cool stuff and what I consider to be the greatest community of traders out there. And again, it's all risk-free, so there's no auto bill or anything like that. And if you're interested in seeing what's all included with the premium membership, just wait until the end of this video, and we're gonna give you a 60-second rundown of really the layout of all of our courses. You may need to rewind it a couple times, it goes pretty fast, but it shows you how much content is actually there to help you with your trading. So take action right now. If you're struggling, get on the platform, come in with a goal. Even if you don't plan on being a premium member, say, I'm gonna take my 2 weeks to find out what needs to be fixed in my trading, and then you can go off, stay in touch with us on social media, but then go off and continue to really chase down that goal and achieve that ultimate success. All right, until next time, plan your trade, trade your plan. Take care, traders.